All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about the mainstream liberal media, more specifically MSNBC, because they're once again pushing the idea of a civil war in the United States, okay? And I wish that I was exaggerating. I wish I was being hyperbolic when I say this, but it seems like these people really want a civil war in this country, which is kind of ironic and strange considering how they're decide without guns, right, and weapons. But for whatever reason, they want a civil war, okay? And I'm saying that because they keep talking about it. They keep pushing it. And again, if you don't believe me, I did a video yesterday about how crackpot MSNBC contributor Malcolm Nance went on the network and said in no uncertain terms that Americans should fight their neighbors because the GOP has become an insurgency, right? He's basically equating the GOP to terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq. And he said that we have to treat the current GOP and to fight against them, right? The GOP, the Republican Party, like the Iraq war, like the war in Syria, okay? He's basically calling his fellow Americans domestic terrorists based off their political views. This is being pushed on a mainstream liberal media network, MSNBC, for their, I don't know if it's millions of listeners, but hundreds of thousands of listeners to hear, okay? That is what they're doing, okay? But at the same side of their mouth, they'll turn around and talk about how Fox News is fear-mongering and trying to push this country into a civil war, and it's actually the right that wants civil war. And although I do hear, rumblings of civil war from people on the right and from the conservative side of the aisle, I don't hear many people saying that they should turn around and fight their neighbors, right? They're not going as far as what these people are calling for, okay? So with that being said, I want to react to this conversation between Tiffany Cross and her crackpot MSNBC contributors, Elon Mustal and the other irrelevant people that they bring up here, as they talk about how democracy is on the brink of destruction, right? So let's go ahead and get into it.
All right. Are you guys familiar with that urban myth that if you put a frog in a pot of boiling water, it will instantly leap out? But if you put it in a pot filled with pleasantly tepid water and gradually heat it, the frog will remain in the water until it boils to death. Well, that is a fitting metaphor for our democracy right now. As our democratic norms erode within America, we must wonder, will this democracy survive? Well, a Yahoo News poll says no. But perhaps when you build a nation on stolen land with stolen labor, it was never going to be a republic we could keep.
Stolen land and stolen labor, right? Again, I love how these black liberals continue to use this line about how the land is stolen labor this. Okay, well, why are you living on the stolen land, right? Why are you living on it? And what land in the history of this world has not been stolen, okay? You do realize that before the white Europeans came here, okay, with their slaves, you do understand that the Native Americans that were living here, they used to war with each other over land, right? You do understand they were stealing land from each other left and right, okay? You do understand that, right? But with that being said, again, these people keep talking about how this land is stolen, but they continue to live on stolen land, using stolen resources. Tiffany Cross being a millionaire, she's using more resources than most people, okay? More stolen resources. But for whatever reason, she won't go to Africa, right? Why don't you go to Africa where the land is not stolen by the white European? Because that land is stolen as well, too. Go over there. But see, she won't move to Africa, and the reason why is because she knows that she won't be able to make millions of dollars being an airhead, and she will have less rights, right? Less rights as a woman over there. So again, it's people like her that go on TV and that are enjoying the most privileged in our society, spouting silly talking points like this, talking about how the land is stolen, but yet they won't leave, right? They're going to enjoy the benefits of the stolen land and stolen labor. Again, it really blows my mind, the hypocrisy and the cognitive dissonance of some of these people.
So let's talk about the possible fall of democracy and what, if anything, can be done to keep it. Jason, I'm going to bring you in first here because you and I have talked about this a lot. We'll pick up the conversation on our live later, but how likely is a civil war in this country? Because in 10 years, I just wonder if the United States will still be united because it's not looking so likely. And what should we be considering when we're thinking about the lead up to whatever is going to happen?
Yeah. So again, here they are playing up the possibility of a civil war. Now, how likely is a civil war the next 10 years? Unlikely, right? Very unlikely, okay? Guys, I apologize if I'm being too optimistic, okay? Because I do know there's some people on the right side of the aisle that love to play up this possibility of civil war as well too. Tim Pool. But I don't think it's actually going to happen, okay? I think the people that play up this idea of civil war are people that are basically trying to play to a certain group of people who basically believe that the country is at a point where we can't reconcile our differences or that we can't all live together in peace and harmony. And I just want to say that I think that we actually can, and I think for the most part we are, despite what you see on the internet and on mainstream liberal media. When you go out in public, right, fellow Americans aren't just fighting each other because of their politics, okay? We have been able to tolerate each other despite our political differences all over the country, right? It seems that most of the people that are upset in this country seem to be in these liberal cities, right? They're living among people that have their own political ideology, right? That all share the same political ideology, right? You don't see too many people in red states protesting in the street, destroying their own communities, their own neighborhoods, because they can't get their way, right? Most of the violence and the uprisings in this country are going on in these liberal cities, okay? So maybe there's, some civil war going on there, but I don't think it's happening in most of the country. I don't think we're actually going to have a civil war, okay? And I hope that does not happen. I think this civil war talk is just overplayed and kind of ridiculous.
So this is the thing I need people to understand so that they don't think we're being hyperbolic, right? A civil war in the way that we see it in the United States is, North versus South and, and red versus gray and books and stuff like that. That's not how all civil wars operate. In many countries, a civil war manifests itself by having large sections of the country that cannot be managed or controlled by the central government.
Ding, 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 ding. This is why the Democrats, or these people, the mainstream liberal media, this is why they're playing up civil war. Because the federal government can't control red states, right? That's what it is. The federal government doesn't have enough power, therefore we want a civil war, okay? This is what they're saying, right? This is what their gripe is. We can't control how other people live, therefore we're pissed. We want a civil war.
Right? That is something that is possible in the United States. There are sections of this country that, look, right now, the Bundy Ranch was an offshoot, right? But we have sections of this country right now where white nationalists and militant groups and stuff like that are beginning to train, beginning to expand. They're beginning to get political leaders in office who don't want to listen to the federal government.
Who and where? What groups are training? What political leader in office is a white nationalist? Again, you guys, the crux of what they're saying here is that the federal government doesn't have enough power. We're mad because the Supreme Court is handing back a lot of these issues to the states, and or they're actually forcing Congress to legislate. They're saying, look, Congress, you have to do your job on these issues, like abortion, like climate change. You have to do your job. You can't just rule through the executive branch and these agencies that were not democratically elected, okay? These are bureaucrats. You can't do that. You can't rely on Supreme Court decisions. You actually have to legislate. That is what the Supreme Court is saying, right? And on other issues, again, they're pushing them back to the states. The Supreme Court is saying democracy, right? Democracy, okay? That's what they're advocating for. And for whatever reason, the same people that want to save democracy are afraid of democracy. They're afraid of democracy to the point where they're essentially calling for a civil war. They're like, we got to have a civil war because the Supreme Court is saying that we should let people decide on some of these issues instead of the federal government. Again, it blows my mind, right? It really blows my mind, the cognitive dissonance of these people.
So in 10, 12 years, heck, in 4 years, if we have a legislature in Georgia or Iowa or Nebraska or something else like that that says we no longer recognize the validity of the Joe Biden administration, that is sort of a precursor for civil war. That's what happens when you have within a civil society a lack of agreement on who's actually running the country. So it's not as...
Can anybody agree that Joe Biden's actually running the country right now? I mean, let's be real. Joe Biden is out of his mind, right? He's just not there. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I think it's hard for anybody to determine who's actually running the country right now. I think everybody got questions about that.
As far-fetched as people think, And I think the country needs to understand that it doesn't always have to look the way it has in the past to be something dangerous for our future.
Made some really good points. You know, you and I have talked about how there is the legislative branch of this country that's failing. There's also the judicial branch of this country. We're looking at very different justice systems play out for people. I know there's a lot of frustration around what the DOJ is doing and pursuing when it comes to January 6th. And I wonder, people who have committed much lighter crimes that did not try to overthrow the government, as they look at this justice system play out not in their favor, how incentivized would they be to help save this democracy?
So how incentivized would black people be? That's what she's actually really trying to say. How incentivized would black people be to join in on this civil war, right? Or black people go fight this civil war? That's essentially what she's saying here. And again, keep in mind, her audience is mostly white. Black people don't even watch this lady, right? Black people don't watch this lady, and she knows that.
When their interaction with the state is very different from what upper crust white privileged people experience.
Ding, ding, ding.
A civil war implies two sides fighting. Why would the MAGA side fight when they've already captured the courts? I mean, I get to course correct now on live television because you want to talk about a person who also has been on Merrick Garland from the very beginning. It is Sarah, right to my right. Like, she has been on it. And one of the reasons why she has been on it is that Sarah and I and Jason, we understand that when these people take control of the courts, they don't have to go to the street fighting. We have a case coming up in the Supreme Court next term that will legalize, and this is what people need to understand about what they're going to do. It will all be legal. What the insurrection, if you want to call it, the war, the authoritarian takeover of our nation will be made legal by the Supreme Court. And when you see the, shall we say, tepid reaction to the court's decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's House, when you see the willingness of people to just accept Supreme Court pronouncements without fighting back, which is...
Okay. Oh, my God. These people are literally, they're extremists, bro. And the fact that they can't recognize their own extremism, it really blows my mind. He said that there was a tepid reaction to the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. That is what this man just said, tepid. An attempted assassination on Brett Kavanaugh. Protesting outside Supreme Court justices' homes in order to try to intimidate them when the decision was leaked. Before the decision was even made, they tried to intimidate them to change it, okay? Actively doxing Supreme Court justices, putting out bounties for the location of Supreme Court justices, chasing Supreme Court justices out the back of restaurants, okay? Following them around, stalking them. This dude said that is tepid. That is a tepid reaction, guys. So what would be his ideal reaction? What does Eli Mastal in his ideal world, what do you think his reaction would be, right? Because I think that the reaction to the Supreme Court and what they did is an extremist reaction. I think those people should have been jailed, right? I think that Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice, they aren't doing their jobs because those people were illegally trying to intimidate Supreme Court justices, okay? And again, if people on the right did that, we know these people will be losing their minds. They will be losing their minds if people on the right reacted the same way that people on the left reacted to the Supreme Court in their decision. We know what will happen, okay? Just based off with January 6th. Even though we've seen the left storm the Capitol before, right, in response to Brett Kavanaugh being nominated to the court, right? We've seen that. We've seen them push election conspiracies, Hillary and Russiagate. They've done all the stuff that they accuse the right of doing, and we've seen their reaction versus the right reaction. The right got out of hand one time, right? One time, okay? These people have been throwing a fit for years, and they have not stopped. And this dude is saying that's tepid. That's tepid. So this guy, in his ideal world, what does he want? Does he want people to burn down the Supreme Court, right? Is that what he want? Does he want to actually destroy the Supreme Court? I think he does. I think that's what these people want. And again, what blows my mind about this is that they're upset that the Supreme Court is literally forcing Congress to do their jobs, which is to legislate. They're handing issues back to the states. And what I believe is actually the correct decision if you want to avoid a civil war. And why is that? Well, it's because unlike the first Civil War, okay, in which you actually needed more federal government because you had states that were literally enslaving people, okay? Which, by the way, you had hundreds of thousands of Union soldiers, mostly white, fight that war to free those black slaves. And then you got ungrateful people like Elon Musk and Tiffany Cross going on TV making millions of dollars talking junk about the history of this country, right? Ungrateful folks. But anyways, that's beside the point. The point is that back then, the Civil War was fought because there wasn't enough federal oversight. Today, there's too much, right? There's too much federal government. And some of these issues that we're fighting over, honestly, they should just be handled by the states, okay? And let people live and move in whatever state that they think best fits their lifestyle. That's the best way to go about it, right? That is the best way to avoid a civil war, which is to let states be states, okay? Let the people in those states decide how they want to live and keep the federal government out of it, right? I think that's the best thing. But these people don't want that. They want to control other people's lives, okay? They want to tell you how to live in your state, right? They want everybody to live the same way they live in these big liberal cities, and that's just not how it works. You can't do that, right? And because they can't do that, they want a civil war.
See, is everything in place for the court to retroactively give the imprimatur of legitimacy to any civil insurrection or authoritarian takeover of our government. They don't need. They're not going to need to fight. They're gonna have everything in place to do it legally.
Bro, these people are so upset, bro. They're so upset that they can't control your life, right? That is what they're mad about. We can't control their life, okay? There's not enough government overreach. Therefore, we're mad. We're pissed. And we're going to accuse you of wanting a civil war when we're the ones that actually really want a civil war. We're the ones that are destroying our own cities, right? And protesting and rioting everywhere all the time. You guys are the one that actually want the civil war, right? Again, it blows my mind. It's absolutely nuts. These people are extremists. They really are. And MSNBC, they really should rein in their rhetoric, man. They really should. It's getting out of hand because you should be careful what you ask for, especially considering how your side of the aisle is the aisle that is not armed. I'm just saying. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.